Welcome back. We are now 1 week away from Election Day. The presidential race is not the only race to watch. Key Senate races in battleground states like Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, among others, closely watched. That could decide who controls the Senate upper chamber. Texas Senator Ted Cruz is now leading Congressman Colin Allred by 4 points in a new poll. Nebraska Senator Deb Fischer is leading Democrat challenger Dan Osborne. She's up 2 points. Joining me now is West Virginia Senator Shelley Moore Capito. She's the Republican Conference Vice Chair and a member of the Senate Appropriations, Commerce, Science and Transportation, and Environment and Public Works and Rules Committee. Senator, thanks so much for being here this morning.
Thanks, Maria. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I know you've been campaigning with battleground candidates. In the last hour, I spoke with your colleague, Senator Mullen. He told me Republicans can win up to 55 Senate seats. What are your thoughts? Walk us through your thinking on where the Senate goes this election.
Well, I think the most important thing is West Virginia will be bringing another Republican to the Senate, because that then will put us at 50. We will win Texas and we will win Florida. Those are strong candidates who run great campaigns. And quite frankly, I think all the hubbub about anybody being in trouble is only to divert the funds down there, because we see in these battleground states, and I'm surrounded by several, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Maryland, we have extremely good candidates who are well funded, who are keeping to the message that's important to the American people of the failed Harris administration and also policies under President Trump. And so it's a good combination, I think. What we have is momentum, and that's what you want when you have 1 week left to go.
So in terms of leadership in the Senate, who do you want to see there?
Well, I think it's going to be a struggle between John Cornyn probably and John Thune. I know Rick Scott is in there. I haven't picked a particular person publicly. They're both strong leaders. We'll see. We need a good voice to be able to bring, as we had the majority, to bring the conference together and to make sure that we're united, not just united, but also have the strongest leader. And so I think we will, and I think we have two good ones there. And we have John Barrasso will be our whip.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I've been speaking with lots of Trump voters, and they would be very disappointed if the leader in the Senate is another Mitch McConnell-like character, frankly. Just to be blunt, they want somebody who's going to support President Trump. Are those two supportive of President Trump, or is Rick Scott really the supporter of President Trump?
No, I think they all are supporters of President Trump. They've all had conversations with him. They've appeared with him. And, Mitch McConnell's leaving, I think both of them have talked, or all of them have talked about how they would reshape the voice in terms of having amendments, being able to be heard, all of the things that you want your leaders to put forward so that we can fight on the Senate floor for the things that we've won in the election. I think we will be turning the page on our leadership. And I think all of those would present that face that the Trump voter wants. I really do. I really do.
All right, let's talk policy for a moment, because this is why you are poised to take the Senate, because of bad policy on the other side. The Biden-Harris administration's policies have had a very negative impact, for example, on seniors and their ability to retire. According to a new report from economist E.J. Antoni, retirement plan balances increased nearly $30 trillion by the third quarter of 2024. However, when you adjust for inflation, the retirement plans are only worth $27 trillion, a $2.5 trillion loss, Senator. You posted this on X. Biden-Harris inflation is costing West Virginia families nearly $900 more a month. Senator, the issue that I have with the policies of the Kamala Harris campaign is that she cannot answer the question of how she will rein in inflation. Every time she's asked this question, she blames corporate America. So I ask you, do you believe she has a plan to rein in inflation? And if not, is President Trump's plan to tap into energy capacity the answer?
Well, absolutely. Vice President Harris has no plan. Her plan, if you listen to what she says, is to give more money for small businesses, more money for debt retirement, more money for housing. All of that would be, I think, feed into the inflationary rise that we've seen under the Biden-Harris administration. I mean, she says it's an opportunity economy, and then she goes back to the same old diatribes of every single Democrat campaign I've ever seen is we're going to tax the billionaires. She knows that's not going to solve this issue, and that's just a talking point to sort of get her through the interview. So there's no original ideas here from the Democrats on how we're going to, A, rein in our spending, but also how how we're going to keep inflation down, because they cannot spend enough money. The IRA, the Green New Deal, we just see all of that rolling out, and we see how inflationary all of that has been. What people and seniors who look at their accounts probably daily, many of them, they know that when they go to the grocery store and want to get groceries, they got to pay $120 for what they were paying $100 for just last year. And, you know, that's worrisome to those that are retiring. They know that they have only a certain amount to be able to retire. They've planned well, but the effect of their dollar is much less. Their rent's up, their energy costs are up. And if you look at what President Trump's policies are, absolutely, during those years when he was our president, everybody's wages were going up. Inflation was down. The dollar was much stronger in terms of the buying power for the American consumer. And people remember that. That's why he keeps saying, and we keep saying, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? And we know the answer. The answer is no. And for our seniors, it hits particularly hard when they look at their retirement accounts.
Yeah, I mean, and then there's the border and the impact on West Virginia. I mean, Governor Jim Justice announced Operation October Sky. It led authorities to seize 28 pounds of meth and fentanyl. Justice says the drugs came directly across the southern border, Senator. So you've got that issue as well, which, of course, has become the #1 issue for voters. How has the wide open border impacted your constituents?
You know, it impacts every state. It impacts West Virginia, and Governor Justice, who will be our new United States Senator, knows that. And so he's put a lot of areas of emphasis in this drug bust on October Sky. What you see is methamphetamine is a huge problem. It's coming from the southern border. We know that. We know it's coming through the Mexican cartels into our country, and it's killing people. We see the crime statistics of, you know, murders and rapes around the country. And then when you find out, you know, in some cases that these are people that are waiting for their asylum claim to be heard, or they're in a Venezuelan gang, or they've been here and unaccounted for, that hurts parents, that hurts people that hear this, because it doesn't have to be this way. I read an article yesterday that said, oh, well, you know, Vice President Harris is going to do what President Biden is doing and cracking down right now. They've had 3.5 years to do this. The only reason that they've put put it down a little bit is because they've realized it's a huge election issue. Yeah, for sure. Senator, thanks very much for being here. We so appreciate your time. We'll be watching your work. Thank you. Senator Shelley Moore Capito.